Hello, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Are You a Fan? If you like the episode, give us a like, share, follow, and let's get into it. So, as we normally start out, question of the week. If you could obtain immortality, but you had to be trapped in the body of an animal, what animal are you picking? Like, you're not an animal humanoid.
I guess that's slightly different than the general animal question you ask.
Just a tad bit.
Not by much. I don't know, probably a lizard.
Lizard?
You know, get one of the little mini dragons. Do one of those.
Okay, yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't know why.
Because if I'm immortal, I can care less what I am.
Fair.
But if I could look like a dragon, that'd be awesome. Travel size for your convenience.
I don't know, like, maybe a raven? Because, yeah, I'm just fly around, mimic human talk.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us in this week's character, Kenneth Hell, a.k.a. Gorilla Man. Yeah, this is a bit of an unknown one. So let's get into it, real world. So, Gorilla Man is an alias used by 3 different fictional superheroes appearing in American comic books, published by Marvel Comics beginning in 1954. So, an fairly old character, with the character of Kenneth Howell and continuing with Arthur Nagin, who also appears in 1954, and Franz Redzik, who first appears in 1962. So, I mean, for an unknown character, a fairly old one.
Yep. Starting about the same time as most of them do.
Yeah. Huh.
So the character of Kenneth Hale first appears in Men Adventure issue number 26, March 1954.
Then Dr. Arthur Negan first appears in Mystery Tales issue number 21 in September 1954 and was created by Bob Powell. This story was reprinted in Weird Wonder Tales, issue number 7, in 1974.
And then Franz Radzik, he first appears in Tales of Astonish, issue number 28, in February of 1962.
So, like, a decent amount of, like, first appearances for the characters that play this guy. Okay, and that's kind of what we got for Real World. Not a lot really to go on.
Yeah, there's not really anything there.
Okay, in universe. There are 2 accounts explaining how Kenneth Howell became the Gorilla Man. The earliest account suggests that Howell was plagued by nightmares of a Gorilla Man in the depths of Africa.
That's what happens when you get, the 1950s.
Right?
So, becoming obsessed with finding the Gorilla Man, he traveled to Africa where he tracked down the mythic beast and fought it to death. In killing the Gorilla Man, Ken himself would be transformed into the new Gorilla Man.
Kind of that whole... I always thought that was always the funny curse type thing. Kill the monster, become the monster.
But it makes sense, and it's how a lot of those monsters seem to be immortal, quote unquote.
Right.
Because it never truly dies, but it's never truly the same person.
Exactly. So the true account of Ken Howell's transformation into Gorilla Man is much more detailed. A soldier of fortune, Ken Howell lived for thrills and adventure. Fearing old age and death, he sought immortality on the African continent. He heard a tale of a gorilla that stands like a man, and that if he killed it, he would live forever, never aging. He hunted the beast, but when he met it, he could not kill it. Leaving it alive, Hal wandered the jungles, becoming lost and sick. The gorilla found him and forced Ken Hal's hand. Ken killed the beast in self-defense, not knowing that he had just taken the curse of the Gorilla Man upon himself. He obtained his immortality, but it came along with spending the rest of his immortal life in the body of a gorilla.
Well, that's probably why the last Gorilla Man kind of hunted him down and forced the hand. He's like, I'm tired of this. You need to get me out of this.
Right?
Because clearly I can't do it on my own.
Well, I was like, immortality sounded awesome, and now I'm here.
Yeah.
Stuck in a gorilla body.
Immortality is never really as great as we like to think it is.
Right?
So, hiding out in the jungles of Africa, the new Gorilla Man was eventually approached by the FBI agent Jimmy Woo, who recruited him into his G-Men. Their first mission was to save President Eisenhower from the Yellow Claw in his Mongolian fortress. The president was rescued, but the Yellow Claw would escape. 6 months later, the G-Men were disbanded.
I do love that Jimmy Woo is actually from the comics.
Right.
Also, just every time I hear the name, I just remember the episode of Archer. It's like, yeah, he broke both of Woo's arms yelling, "Woo, happy accident."
Yeah, I'd do the same thing.
So in the fall of 1959, Gorilla Man saved the life of General Hill when he was the target of an assassination attempt by Icon. Pal Mateague had warned Nick Fury about the danger to the general's life. Which, it's one of those, like, I do feel like a gorilla is not a bad body swap for somebody who is already kind of a mercenary soldier for fortune.
Right. It's actually pretty good because, you got all that strength to go behind it.
Yeah. You got, like, the brains, and now it's like, sweet, I have the strength of 10 men.
I'd take it.
Same.
So when Xavier finished after sending out a telepathic distress call, Miriam Christensen suggested Hale as a guide to her new nephew, Angel. The X-Men eventually would locate Xavier and within a cave with an entrance carved to resemble a face. Because, of course.
Right.
Always those caves with a face.
Oh, old school comics.
The cave's mouth closed when they entered, and the X-Men would be overwhelmed by feelings of despondency. Hale was unaffected and forced Cyclops to breach the cave of the roof with his optic blast and then help the X-Men escape. After the cave's collapse, Hale declined to return to the U.S. with the X-Men. Why not?
Yeah, dude, you're an immortal gorilla. Have fun.
You'll probably join them eventually.
Exactly. By modern age, Gorilla Man was recruited by Nick Fury into S.H.I.E.L.D.'s Howling Commandos unit. The Howling Commandos launched an assault on a doomsday cult and was utilizing technology bought from the Lords of the Living Lightning. God, cults, man, I swear.
Kind of crazy to think about the Howling Commandos pretty much lasting from World War II all the way into the modern age.
It is kind of reminds me of the whole kind of Guardians of the Galaxy, how like that was originally a completely different group and got reformed.
Well, it's just amazing, just the group itself overall. Like, even being different members, but just being a unit.
True. Which I do feel like Nick Fury definitely would have a soft spot for keeping that unit around.
It's probably the only reason it's still there.
Right?
So Gorilla Man was to track down and capture Groot. Afterwards, he and Werewolf would meet the commander's newest recruit, the Glob, and explain their situation to him. Man, just some of these names, man.
I was gonna say, man, I feel like some of these comics, they were getting real lazy with the naming.
Clearly.
Like, I don't know, looks like a glob. Call him Glob. Call him Glob, whatever. So when Goom broke out of his cell, I think that was supposed to be, wow, that would be a major typo. Okay, when Groom broke out of his cell, Gorilla Man brought him down single-handedly. He then discussed with Groot the terms and conditions of being a member of the squad. When the recently freed Merlin's forces attacked, Gorilla Man was among the commandos to face them down. I've got to read these comics. This sounds like pure, utter chaos.
I was like, just as we've gotten through this episode, that's all this is. It is so much jumping around, so much is chaos.
Right? This sounds like somebody's excuse to clean up like the plot holes and loose ends to the major comics.
I think that's exactly what this is.
Which, respect.
So with Area 13 overrun by Merlin's forces, a Werewolf and Gorilla Man realized the portal to Merlin's location was still open. They had the cells of the giant monsters being held open and jumped through the portal just before a stampede of monsters followed them. Because, what better way to jump through a portal? Right. Yeah, follow us, guys.
Oh. So the commandos waited just outside of Merlin's camp and were soon joined by dozens of other commando members who followed them through the portal. The group then launched an assault on Merlin's forces. During the battle, Gorilla Man and Werewolf located Merlin, who fled when he realized he could not win this fight. And yeah, like it's honestly one of those where I kind of stopped doing the research here because it's just a bunch of these mini just background stories of BS.
I feel like we could have probably just stopped that a while ago at this point.
So, but yeah, he's part of the Howling Commandos. He kind of just gets jobs here and there from the superheroes. He's a soldier of fortune, but not a bad guy. Well, let's get into powers and abilities. So, superhuman strength, stamina, durability, agility, dexterity, and sense of smell. Basically, he's a gorilla.
He's an enhanced gorilla.
Yeah, just like a slightly enhanced gorilla. Also, immortality. Another part of the Gorilla Man enchantment is the fact that Hal is functionally immortal. As long as Hal is Gorilla Man, he is immune to further aging and is also immune to the effects of all known earthly diseases. That's kind of cool.
Heck yeah.
Hal is a skilled, armed, and unarmed combatant. Having received training from various military groups, his natural prowess as a combatant has been greatly improved with the addition of his superhuman powers. Yeah, like we said, like you're a soldier of fortune, now you have the body of nature's tank, of nature's bodybuilder. Cool.
Heck yeah.
Hal was noted by the Skrulls as a skilled battle strategist. Weakness. The enchantment doesn't grant Hal complete immortality. He can't die through natural means such as old age and disease. He can be killed in much the same way as a normal human being, however. For instance, Hal can be killed by a bullet just as he used to kill the previous Gorilla Man. Yeah. And weapons. He is an expert in weapon usage with a preference for firearms.
Gotta be some big firearms for his hand to fit.
Right? Just using miniguns like regular Tommy guns.
That's exactly what it would be. So into his other media, the only version of him, the Ken Hale version, appears in Agents of Atlas DLC pack for Lego Marvel Superheroes 2.
Lego for the save, man.
Every time. Even if it's a DLC, it's still there.
Yeah, that's all we really got for this guy. I guess I'll ask the question I ask every time. You a fan, Joker?
Starting to be a trend with his later and later is yes and no.
Yeah.
It's like, he's not a horrible character, but he's not that great of one either, so sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I think I'd be a fan of his comics because they sound just bat guano as all heck. So yeah, I'm a bit of a fan.
For anyone that's still listening, if you got something out of this, enjoyed the episode, or even liked the character before from a movie, comic, cartoon, hell, even that t-shirt that you saw one time, you're a fan too. If you want to jump on this train, why not subscribe and share with a friend? d-rael out. Y'all keep riding them rails.